Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your kind invitation. My name is Chiara Paolini. I'm the mother of 3 children and a primary school teacher. I would like to highlight through the story of my family, and in particular of my second son, Mele, who is affected by mitochondrial disease, what have been the main difficulties we faced as a family and the main positive contribution that helped our family grow together, making everyone's gifts flourish. Okay, that's Mele. Emanuele Mele was born the 22nd of April 2008, second of our 3 children, and our family was very similar to many others. I said, 2 brothers playing together. This is christening. This is Mele, Matavuk, 2 brothers. A happy child. But in July of the same year, Mele came downhill. He was hospitalized for months in a specialized children's hospital. From this moment on, I have only sleeping baby pictures of him in my computer. In August, doctors told us there was not much more they could do for him, so we got him confirmed with the right for children in danger of death. He did not die, and we came back home. What had happened? Did something break? Did we have a broken baby to be fixed or changed? Well, in fact, I can assure you that the expectations, the desires all parents have for their children were still there, and they had not changed. We still wanted every one of our children to grow up, to communicate, to play, to study, to get a job, to form a family for themselves, and so on. Our expectation had not changed in substance, but in manner they were now very different. It is useless to moan. You need to make dinner with what is in the fridge. You know, sometimes when an unexpected guest arrives, you think, oh my God, I have nothing to serve. But a mom checking a pantry can actually always make a delicious meal with what is already there. Okay, what if there's nothing to eat? Well, all you can make is a stone soup. This is a very famous 15th, 16th century European folk story. I'll tell you the story. In a village, there is a great famine, and no one has enough to eat. A woman fills a pot with water, drops a stone in it, and places it over a fire in the middle of the village square. One of the villagers becomes curious and asks her what she's doing. She answers she's making stone soup, which tastes wonderful and which she would be delighted to share with the villager, although it still needs a little bit of garnishing, which she doesn't have, to improve the flavor. The villager does not mind parting with a few carrots. So these are added to the soup. Another villager walks by, he inquires about the pot, and the story of the stone soup, which has not reached yet its full potential, is repeated. Finally, the inedible stone is removed, and a delicious and nourishing pot of soup is enjoyed by the woman and the villagers alike. What wasn't there becomes present. Sharing what everyone has, even if it's not enough by itself, leads to successfully transforming emptiness into a tasty meal that fits everyone, including the donors. The impossible becomes possible with a minimum effort of sharing. The ingredients of our stone soup were donated by individual people who helped us, believing in the possibility of learning to live a fulfilling life. First of all, returning home, thanks to the support and formation from a hospital service which trains parents for children in pediatric palliative care. Receiving home nursing service with a nurse to care for Mele a few hours a day for 8 years. and who allowed us to breathe, to work. Starting kindergarten with a teacher who stimulated Mele to express himself through painting. The enthusiasm of a few art critics and the support of UCAI, which is the Catholic Association of Artists, which led to public exhibitions of our 3-year-old artist paintings, the birth of Mele's little sister Maria, who brought a note of joy and confidence, attending the local scout group and participation in scout camp, the adventure of school, where courageous teachers, consultants, and principals worked and fought for the attendance and inclusion of Mele at school. Several victories in court, achieved thanks to the pro bono commitment of sympathetic lawyers, the arrival of farm animals, and the creation of a small rural reality around Mele. Okay, history is made by good, courageous, frequently unknown people who are able to dare, who lead the others into hope. These people become contagious with hope simply by concentrating on ordinary problems, because although bad things and habits are certainly contagious, fortunately also good habits, behaviors, and feeling are too. I'm not talking only about government leaders, judges, economists, kings. They have a major role and they are important. The bigger the role, the greater the responsibility. Making good laws is important, we were talking about that. Applying them and making sure they are respected is even more important. Creating functional economies is good. But the best thing is throwing seeds of good around. A flame can light a great fire, and you do not need to wait to be elected president or to marry the queen to do this. You can do it here and now. If you're good with little things, you'll be good in bigger things. Seeds of hope are the most important things you can spread around, even in your little situation. Then you can spread seeds of truth, beginning from yourself, seeds of life, seeds of respect, and seeds of love. Okay, love is, we spoke a lot about it, but love is a very inflated thing, you know? Love is not a feeling, or not just a feeling alone. It is a behavior. It is the will to do positive good. So, how can we make the good seeds in each of our children flourish? Considering the very different needs of every one of them. Okay, speaking personally, we as a family simply had to learn how to do exactly the same things, but in a different way. Okay, we learned how to feed a child who cannot eat. This is a Matilde knows, a percutaneous and endoscopy gastrostomy, tube into the stomach. How to help him sit comfortably, or even how to make a child with bone pain sleep comfortably. How to make him sit, help him sit, even though he doesn't have the muscle strength to do so. That's how phrases. How to allow him to stand up, how to communicate without speaking by voice, how to breathe without his lungs being able to do so, how to teach and how to learn, how to attend school in regular classes, because as you know, in Italy, we do not have special schools or classes for students with disabilities. We just have classes which all people can attend, and you should have all the support you need to achieve formative and educational success. Disability never ends. Okay, there are temporary disabilities, but I'm not talking about those. With disability is a chronic condition that is different from an intercurrent illness or an occasional emergency. It puts everyone under stress, meaning that everyone is focused on guaranteeing the survival, the wellness, the quality of life of the child. And people relate differently to a child with disability or to a family who has a child with disability. They are all more stressed. I realized this, for example, because, for example, I realized that the nurses in the pediatric ward of our local hospital were really nice when I went there with my elder son, because they were all relaxed and confident, and they were kind to me, kind to my child. But on the other hand, they were all very tense and worried and in a defensive attitude when I had previously been there many times with Mele. Disability disturbs and disability scares. Why? Because already someone said that, because it shows up our shortcomings, our fragility. It evokes our deepest fears. Could it happen to my son? Could it happen to me? It puts us all in a state of challenge. I am a teacher. Can I teach him? Her? I am a mother. Can I raise all my kids? It puts our system under pressure to achieve better standards. Hospital, school, the government, etc. All relationships become more challenging. Okay, what are the most difficult things we experience? Facing bureaucracy and having a correct relationship with public systems to get the support needed for a dignified life. First of all, getting needs identified and addressed properly without getting involved in a common public system conflict of interest. The services needed are in fact prescribed by the same organism that pays for them. Very often, the real main goal, of course, not always, but of public services is not in fact to help people, but to spend less money. And this is done to the detriment of the weakest. It is sad when people with disability are considered either a resource to be exploited or an opprobrium to be removed. It is painful for a family to be forced to resort to the courts in order to have common human rights guaranteed and to receive proper care. Public services can fight strenuously against the family that dares to appeal in court for their child's rights. They often do so with the specific aim of using the family as a deterrent example to discourage future requests from others. Time is important, especially when you're a child and you have a progressive illness. Court cases, even when they end up by obtaining obvious rights, can still be unjust if they are endless or too long. For example, just a very simple example, very common in Italy. You can certainly obtain a support teacher if you have a disability and the school didn't assign you one. But you will probably get this professional help at the end of the school year, when it has become practically useless. Recently, we were forced to move our son to a new school, so I want to talk about prejudice. Because his former teachers gave up teaching him. He himself described the situation with these words: "They are not teaching me because they assume I cannot learn, so I'm not learning." Prejudice is a self-fulfilling prophecy. To preserve, so what can we do? To preserve the family well-being, capacity of work, social life and relationships, you must address not just the person with disabilities, but the entire family and Mele caregivers. As you know, in Italy, the figure of the caregiver is not legally recognized, you know. We talk a lot, but we don't have laws. I realized this because there is a situation in which disability of children is posed on purpose. Is when you want to win a war. Bombs resembling toys are fabricated not to kill children, but to mutilate them, so the parents will turn all their energies inside their family to help their children, thus draining resources from the war effort. if we want to win our war against discrimination and segregation, a good thing to do is to support family and caregivers in their efforts to raise their children. Raise means not that you take the child away, yeah? You help the family raise them and keep their outside life. Working, studying, having a social life, getting proper medical help for themselves, and even sometimes enough rest or sleep. Is that difficult? Still that difficult? Well, yes, it is. But the greater the struggle, the most glorious the triumph. This is from a movie, Monsignor Vicano, The Butterfly Circus, is a beautiful one, short one. Okay, when I'm tired, am I tired? Yes. When I'm tired, I remember this speech from Antonino Caponetto, and I translated it in English. Refuse all kind of compromises. Be intransigent about values. When people have got things wrong, convince them that is so. Never ask for favors or to be favored. The Constitution and the law give you rights, and you must insist that they be upheld. Ask for your rights firmly and with dignity. Require them to be given without having to bow down to those who are in power or to the political of the moment. You need to demand them. This is an imperative action underlying the whole of your life. Always show respect for your own dignity and defend it at all times. This is from the speech by the magistrate Antonino Caponetto from 1984 to 1990. He was the head of the anti-mafia pool by Rocco Chinnici. He was a man who asked for Falcone and Borsellino's participation to the pool. Okay, what are the things that really helped us? First of all, respect for life. No one ever proposed that our son should be killed, neither in utero, but his illness was not yet been diagnosed, so I don't know, nor after. Killing someone thinking you are doing a good thing is only possible if you dehumanize the other person. Dehumanization did not start with the Nazi Holocaust, and of course, it's not over yet. And no one is safe from it. No one proposed the deception of killing him to help our family and society with the surreal excuse of the best interest even of the person who is killed. Death is never in the best interest of any living creature. Death is not good and is certainly not in anyone's best interest. It is beyond evilness. I want to explain this, beyond evilness, because someone said it's too strong. Well, you know, there are some people that are so good, like saints. They can do extraordinary things, fantastic things, miracles. They can do a good that is beyond good. They are helped by God doing those miracles. They don't do that themselves. So you can do and think something that is so good that is beyond goodness. Well, you can do the same on the opposite side. So some thoughts are a little bit too much for human evilness. So it is beyond evilness to think that eliminating a person just to eliminate his or her pain. It reminds me of when, as a child, I scratched my knee and I went crying to my grandma, and she always said to me, "No problem, let's cut the leg off so it won't hurt anymore." It was so obvious to a 4-year-old me that this was the most idiotic solution that I simply laughed. And I was very satisfied with a plaster or even just a kiss. Killing someone is never an act of compassion. Never. Anyone who makes you believe this or says this is a liar or the liar. Okay, another thing is knowing our rights. Sometimes, in fact, we put ourselves in the position of not considering that we have the perfect right to be like all the others. We don't dare to ask or to join in activities or even to try because we are not aware that we can, or even simply because the law guarantees these things for us. A network of help from other parents of children with disability who have already walked along the same path, being up to date and competent in doing everything to make sure our child will survive. Then when we actually received appropriate help from services, for example, when we had nursing assistant with substitution of the caregiver and flexibility, and we were able to keep our jobs, to care better for all our children, or to just sleep when we were tired. Having dedicated professionals who really took care of us and of our children, doctors, hospitals, nurses, directors, lawyers, judges, principals of schools, etc., who actually took personal responsibility and, for example, signed the documents that were needed, because vital figures in such positions frequently refused to do so, and giving the much needed seal of authority, highlighting not just our exigencies, of course, but our rights as well. Okay, after all this extenuating, strength-consuming process is done, what can you do when all the things strictly regarding survival alone have been done? You can finally start doing what children do. You start playing. And that's how I'm going to talk about a little bit about Mele's art. Okay, my son's active practicing of art started by chance as a family game. My elder son was just 5 years old, and one day I decided to let him paint in his underwear. And it was really funny, you know, but he destroyed the piece of paper because of the amount of paint he put on it. I decided then to get a canvas so I would be able to keep his work. When I was at the shop, I remembered an episode of my life, and I'd been invited to my parents because of my younger sister's graduation. When I arrived, my father came to meet me at the gate with a bouquet of flowers. And I said to him, Dad, sorry, you got the wrong daughter. It's not me, it's my sister was graduated. And he answered me, I'm not wrong. I have 2 daughters, so I've gone out and got 2 bouquets of flowers. Remembering that, I thought, well, I have 2 sons. I'll buy 2 canvases. When Mele tried, we started praising him at the beginning, straight away, you know, saying, oh, you're so great, you're so gifted, you know. But the thing is, at the end, the painting was really extraordinary. So I decided to have it framed, thinking it would have never made another one. And when I went to the shop, the man said to me, really long time since I saw such a beautiful abstract painting, but you didn't sign it. Well, I didn't make it. But the person who made it didn't sign it. But listen, the person who made it cannot sign it. Who made it? My son. And how old is he? 3. And the fact regarding his age was in itself so special that I didn't have time to say anything about his disability, in that the man had already given me another blank canvas saying, now let him try again. We must know if this is just a coincidence or an extraordinary gift. Mele has made hundreds of paintings with his hands since then, and he received prizes at national exhibitions and so on. Very often, we've said this already, people attempt to requalify persons with disabilities by demonstrating what they are capable of doing. But people, not just people with disability, all people, but people are important not because of what they can do, but simply because they exist. You need to give a person the value he has, then the person can show you who he is. Well, some people say this is a miracle, but honestly, we don't need miracles. We need eyes to see them. I want to conclude with a poem, not written by me, of course, and I just read it. I asked for strength, and God gave me difficulties so to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and God gave me problems to learn to solve. I asked for prosperity, and God gave me brain and brawn to work. I asked for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love, and God gave me people to help. I asked for favors, and God gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted. I received everything I needed. Only you know what that is. Thank you. That's finished.